On this episode of the NWA 1984 Project, Brickhouse Brown, Nikolai Volkoff, and Brian Christoper, WWF 1991, and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And away we go. Welcome back to the NWA 1984 Project. I'm your host, Juan Cena, and with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
Cooling off, man. Cooling off.
Yes, it is August, and it's extremely hot, and I'm currently wearing no pants. I want to start off this episode talking about some odds and ends here. Don't forget that we do have a Twitter account. Hey, guys, make sure you follow us at RW Games Presents. That's all one word, of course, because it is Twitter. And join in the fun. I'm very active on Twitter, not only promoting our own videos, but talking to people, retweeting cool stuff. And I'm a good follow, put it that way. So make sure you guys, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please leave a comment, and please hit that like button. It really does help us out. So we're going to start out this episode talking about the Women's Evolution pay-per-view. Is WWE's first all-women's pay-per-view. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on the overall concept of Women's Evolution?
I think it's a nice idea. My worry is that the writing won't live up to the talent in the ring. I think that they've got to really make some big moves. I would say a major heel turn, a stable forming, something coming out of this. You're going to walk away going, wow. I can't wait to see what happens next.
I think the writing in general, for all the brands, for the exception of NXT, have been subpar. Although the talent on all the rosters are extremely well, this is probably the best women's talent they've had possibly ever in terms of overall match qualities, in terms of their ability to talk, and what have you. Again, I think the writing across the board is weak, and I think, you know, for WWE, they currently have an issue because I don't think they understand, because they are treading new grounds here, I don't think they completely understand how to write women's wrestling appropriately yet, because you don't want to dip into like your catty, like cat fight type of shit. There's a lot of 50-50 booking going on right now, and I think for me, in terms of what the women's division currently needs, they need a strong heel, and I think they need more physicality, brutality, and violence. I'm not talking about over-the-top violence, but I'm talking about, when's the last time we've seen someone attacked and they're wheeled out in a stretcher? You know what I mean? I don't think it has happened.
I'll tell you, watching NXT, my favorite woman wrestler is Shayna Baszler. I think she's better than Brock Lesnar as a champion. Fearsome, she's intense, intimidating. She talks a good game. She backs it up. She wrestles really well. You know, I'd like to see her take a big step.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I mean, this has been a long time coming, in my opinion. Although it's not the first women's pay-per-view. TNA, of course, had their women's pay-per-view years and years ago. But I think the women's wrestling has been presented in a more appropriate fashion in the last couple of years. You know, the women's revolution and what have you. I mean, to be completely honest, the women matches right now, that Bayley versus Sasha match that I saw TakeOver a couple years back, was the best match I saw all that weekend. And it was really, really well done and really done. It was really, really good. You know, these women are not at the level of, say, like All Japan women in the 80s. Because if you go back and watch some of those All Japan women matches from back in the day, they're doing stuff back then that they're still not doing now. Like, it's that ridiculous. Like, they were doing stuff in the ring that the men weren't even doing. Like, it was fucking fantastic. So I think if they take more of that kind of approach to this, you know, with the physicality, with the brutality, the intensity, and what have you going forward, then this will be successful. But if they go back into typical, you know, WWE, this is how we book women, you know, with pillow fights and cat fights and bikini contests and all that. You know, I'm not opposed to any of those things. I just don't necessarily want it in my wrestling. You know, those are, you know, there's other avenues to get that kind of enjoyment and that kind of entertainment, so I don't really necessarily need it in my professional wrestling. Now, this show will take place at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which is about 25 minutes away from my house, so I will be attending this event, so scoring me some tickets. I'm curious to see how well this does in terms of, you know, it drawing. Will it actually sell out? Will I have a hard time getting tickets? I plan to take my wife and my daughter with me to the show, and I hopefully I can get really good seats. I'm hoping it's not too expensive because I have a lot of shows coming up for the you know, the end of this year into next year. You know, with Mania being in the New York market as well. So, you know, I'm hoping that tickets are not super expensive. And Nassau Coliseum is not a venue that's necessarily all that great, although they recently renovated it. But I still think the seats are too low to the ground, and if you have any height on whatsoever, your legs are going to hurt. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, my wife's seen concerts there. I've been to wrestling there before, and, you know, they're really low to the ground, and it really hurts. So, but I think overall, I'm really excited about this show, and I'm curious to see what they do. And, you know, there's 1,000 ways they can fuck this up. There's literally 1,000 ways they can fuck this up. I'm hoping they don't. I'm hoping this is a home run. I hope this propels the women's division to the next level, and we see more from them in the future. So, you know, there's always that hope, but, you know, you know, I don't put much faith in the WWE currently. Like I said, I love their roster. There's guys on that roster right now that I love, and that still makes me watch. But it's like these angles are trash. Like, they're all really, really trash, and it's like, nope. Like, that's not good. You know, matches that you will see on this show, we'll have, you know, the both women's championship, well, all three of the women's championships, all four of the women's championships defended. So you're going to have the Raw women's, the SmackDown women's, the NXT women's, and the United Kingdom women's championship defended. In addition, you'll have the 2018 Mae Young Classic tournament final at this show as well. So there's a possibility you might see some unsigned talent in the finals here, but I doubt it. I doubt they'll bring in, you know, independent or a freelancer in to be on this card, but you never know. You know, I'm sure we'll see some sort of, you know, 6-woman match or a fatal 4-way or some sort of battle royal to make sure all the women are on the card and represented. So I'm curious to see who's going to be commentating on this show. Will they bring back, you know, women stars from the past? Will it be Lita Stratus, Beth Phoenix, and like they're taking part of this event in some capacity? But we'll see. But, you know, overall, you know, I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty excited for this show. Again, I'm going to this show because it's about history, right? Going to the first ever, whatever the fuck it is, it's important. You know, I'm not getting the opportunity to go to All In. I'm hoping to go to that Ring of Honor show in Madison Square Garden. We'll see how tickets are for those. I'm obviously going to WrestleMania, but, you know, going to the first ever anything is super important to me right now. So I'm really excited to go. So this will be October 28th, 2018. In sad news, I feel like every show we've been doing as of late have had some sort of wrestler death on it. But recently, Brian Christoper, Nikolai Volkoff, and Brickhouse Brown all passed away last weekend. And again, a very sad day for professional wrestling in general. You know, all three of these guys. Now, I'm pretty sure the average person knows who Nikolai Volkoff is. The average person probably knows who Brian Christoper is. I think what's got left out in the shuffle here is Brickhouse Brown and how awesome Brickhouse Brown was. Phenomenal talent. Again, didn't get, you know, big runs in WWE. You know, he was used essentially as a jobber up here, but in Memphis, fucking awesome. Like, he is fucking awesome. He won the AWA Southern Heavyweight Championship, defeating Jerry Lawler in 1987. He defeated, he only held it for a week. After that, he defeated Max Payne to win the CWA Heavyweight Championship before losing it to Phil Hickerson. He was involved in a racially charged angle with Robert Fuller and the Stud Stable, which, if you haven't seen that on YouTube, Robert Fuller gave Brickhouse Brown a watermelon as a gift and then beat him with a leather strap. But it's Memphis, everyone, so it's okay. I think, to me, like, when you talk about, like, the Blackbirds, like in that team. Iceman King Parsons, right?
Oh,
so the Blackbirds team with Iceman King Parsons, again, is another like phenomenal team that he was a part of. And I think overall, a great worker, will be sorely missed. All accounts, a super, super nice guy. And he will definitely be missed. In terms of Nikolai Volkoff, what are some of your memories on Nikolai Volkoff, Matt?
Oh, man. Well, I think the biggest memory was probably him and Iron Sheik, but one of my earliest memories of wrestling was when I was training at Killer Kowalski's. They had a show right here in my hometown, and one of the main events was Bob Orton versus Nikolai Volkoff. And it's like probably, we're looking at 92 at Bud Park, 93. And some of my friends came to the show. So I was actually at ringside doing like ringside photographer stuff, taking pictures.
Yep.
And I have pictures of Nikolai Volkoff with some of my friends, like, way back. And he was a nice guy, but, we're at a point now where we're losing more people every year because, just fame and celebrity, and wrestling's no different. So as we're losing people every year, it's going to be more and more people we recognize the names of. I mean, it's sad when you have someone like Brian Christoper. Like
Nikolai was 7 years old, so, he'd been around a while. Debuted in 1967, trained by Stu Hart, by the way. Again, he started he was in the WWF in 1968, as Beepo the Mongol, managed by Captain Lou Albano. So he's been around for a very long time. Former WWF International Tag Team Champion. After the Mongols was finished, he left the WWF, but eventually returned in 1974, where he was able to sell out Madison Square Garden with Bruno Sammartino. He was a mass executioner, along with Killer Kowalski and Big John Studd. They won the World Tag Team Championship, but vacated due to interference. The headline Madison Square Garden with Bruno Sammartino is a big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge. He's on that list of guys, legendary. In 74, he went to the AWA. He was managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. In the early 80s, he started wrestling for Bill Watts. Eventually came back to the WWF. He was part of that deal with, a lot of people don't talk about it, but Black Saturday.
Yes.
Remember when Vince bought Georgia Championship Wrestling, he didn't acquire many wrestlers, but one of the guys he did acquire from that deal was Nikolai Volkoff. So I don't think a lot of people talk about that. I think Les Thornton was the other one, and I think it was another guy, but I forget who it was. But Volkoff came back in '84, and he started teaming with the Iron Sheik, and he was managed by Classic Freddie Blassie and eventually Slick. And he did the gimmick where he would sing the Soviet national anthem before every match. Volkoff and Sheik won the WWF Tag Team Champions from the U.S. Express at the first WrestleMania. They eventually lost it back to them, and then they started having matches with Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship. These were flag matches in '85 and '86. I think there's one on the second episode of Saturday Night's Main Event at the Meadowlands. After that, he started feuding with Corporal Kirshner for a while.
Kirshner.
Oh, yeah. After that, he was placed in the Bolsheviks with Boris Zukov, and they were basically a mid-card team. They feuded with the Powers of Pain. They feuded with the Bushwhackers. They got beat by the Hart Foundation like in 30 seconds. And then they turned them babyface because remember, after the fall of communism, Russia was our friend, so you had to turn Volkoff babyface. So Volkoff and Hacksaw Jim Duggan would feud with Sergeant Slaughter for a while. He left in 90. He left at the end of 90. Came back in 1992 for the Royal Rumble. We wouldn't return until 1994. And this is memorable for me, is when they brought him back and they put him in the $1 Million Corporation because Ted DiBiase had bought him. So he had to wear a shirt that said like a property of the $1 Million Man, and instead of having a dollar sign, he had a cent sign because he was so worthless. But I think that was a rib on him because he was notoriously cheap. And then after that, he would come back for various appearances up until like 2016. So again, a good dude overall. Again, no one has a bad word to say about Nikolai. Everyone says he was a lovely, lovely man. So rest in peace, Nikolai Volkoff. So lastly, we have Brian Christoper. Now, Brian Christoper's situation is a little bit different. From what I understand, he was arrested for driving under the influence and for evading police. Right. And he was in his jail cell, and he hung himself in prison.
Right. And
he was 46 years old, and that's sad. I mean, we talk about second-generation wrestlers all the time, and we kind of make fun of them, especially the ones that don't work out well.
Right.
You know, that got pushed because of who the dad was, and Brian Christoper wasn't one of those guys. Like, he didn't come out as Brian Lawler. You know, he was Brian Christoper, and they kind of, it was known, but they kind of kayfabe that he was Jerry Lawler's kid. But again, natural heel, good look, a little bit on the small side, but could work his fucking ass off. You know, came in the WWF in 1997. You know, was right in the light heavyweight championship tournament with Taka Michinoku, which he lost in the finals. I started teaming up with Scott Taylor, eventually forming, was it Too Cool?
Yes.
And they would add Rikishi to that, and they'd do the little fun dance stuff and what have you. And they were just a fun, like, mid-card gimmick that everyone enjoyed. Eventually, he was released from the WWE for illegally conveying drugs across the United States-Canadian border, so he was let go. He spent some time in the World Wrestling All-Stars, spent some time in TNA, would come back to WWE in 2004, and he got released again after a month, and then spent the most of his time, you know, in independence until 2011. Came back for a couple appearances for WWE every once in a while. And that's basically it. But a fantastic worker. Would have great success in the United States Wrestling Association, USWA. And you know, I think he was an underrated, underappreciated talent. So Matt, what are your thoughts on Brian Christoper?
Well, I always root for Too Cool because Scotty Too Hottie was actually from our area, so it was kind of one of our, you know, alums. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, I know he's Brian. I'm sorry, he was Lawler's son, and you feel bad, but it is, you know, no one should have to take their life, but a lot of these guys put themselves in situations where there's, you know, they think they can't win anymore, and it's, well, you keep making these big mistakes, they pile up, and they compound on each other, and, I mean, I've been myself, you know, you think you want to be the biggest star in wrestling and all that, and it doesn't happen. For him, you know, I don't think this is how any of us would have guessed how it would have ended, you know? At least, not I didn't know him that well, but just... I
think he's one of those guys that you're hoping, like, your Scott Halls, your Ravens, your Jake the Snake, that would eventually, like, get his stuff together and be all right. But he just never did.
Right.
So I think it's sad overall, and he'll definitely be missed. And a lot of stories come about, like, how generous he was around, like, the Memphis area and stuff like that, and how... you know, like a good guy he was, and that kind of stuff. So again, I think overall, it's just sad to see someone die so young. You know, hopefully he found peace. That's all I can say. Hopefully he found peace. So next up, I want to talk about how crazy 1991 WWF is. I recently watched the 1991 set of Superstars. For no apparent reason, I just had it on in my house, right? And I watched just about the whole year. Well, the whole year. I watched the whole year. And, like, you're coming off, like, 1990, which, for all intents and purposes, was a down year. And they're trying to do anything they can in 91 to kind of increase house shows, increase attendance across the board, get buy rates up, ratings, what have you.
Yeah.
And the first thing they do right off the bat is they take the belt off of Warrior. So they take the belt off of Warrior. And it kind of like, at the time, now again, this is 1991, so this thing about from 84 to 91. And one of the most violent angles that we've seen. So remember that match, so it's Slaughter versus Warrior. Sherry comes out, she does shenanigans. They cut this really kind of promo that's really full of sexual innuendos. At one point, she gets down on both knees, and she wants to know she'll give, you know, if Warrior will give Macho Man a title shot, and he said no. So, you know, Savage is really pissed off. So, again, they send Sherry back out to the ring during the match. Warrior chases her out, and then fucking Savage hits him with like a fucking light, like one of those big stand-up light spotlights. Fucking creams him with that, and runs away. Warrior makes it back to the ring, and eventually, eventually Slaughter has the advantage, and then Savage hits him with the scepter, like shattering the scepter over his face. Pin 1, 2, 3. Sergeant Slaughter is the new WWF champion. So in that, we have Slaughter who's doing this Iraqi sympathizer angle. Again, an angle we've seen thousands of times before, would it be with the Japanese, Germans, Russians? We've seen this before. But they were getting a lot of negative press at the time because we're legitimately in this real war, and you're trying to capitalize off the war effort. So they're getting called out by mainstream media, the dirt sheets and the like, for really kind of using the war to further an angle, a wrestling angle. A lot of people were turned off by that.
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of the stuff that Slaughter was saying, even some of the stuff that Hogan was saying. You know, it was really like, at the time I thought it was great because I was 9 years old. But looking back at it, like, a lot of that stuff does not hold up, like right off the bat. Going into 90, you had Jay the Snake Roberts being blinded by Rick Martel, which is ridiculous. Yes. They show him at the doctor's office, and they're trying to fix his eye, and he comes out, and he fucking has the white fucking contacts, but apparently when you get arrogance sprayed in your face, you lose all the color in your fucking eyeballs and shit. Right. And eventually that leads up into the blindfold match, but that's a heavy fucking angle for them, too. They fucking blinded someone. Like, you would see that, like, in UWF, in Mid-South, you know what I mean? But you never saw something like that in the WWF, taking someone's eyesight. That's pretty heavy for them. You know, moving forward, right after WrestleMania 7, you know, Hogan gets the big win on Slaughter, you know, the 1, 2, 3. And then the post-match, fucking Slaughter throws a fireball at Hogan.
Yes.
And I bet you if you go back from 1984 to 1991, they've never used fire before. Like, that had to be the first time they had used fire in the WWF. Like, that's heavy, too. He fucking threw fucking fire in his fucking face. He's fucking hurt. You know? So that was like, ooh, that's pretty hefty. You know, that's a heavy angle, too. After that, they do the angle with Jake the Snake Roberts and Earthquake, where Earthquake fucking sits on Damien and kills him, and then serves him Quake burgers. Like, that's a heavy angle, too. Like, ooh. Like, he killed Damien. Everyone loved Damien. So I was like, that's a heat. That's a ridiculous amount of heat. As we get into the summer, again, going into the summer, the first thing one of the things they do is Warrior and Undertaker, where the Undertaker locks Ultimate Warrior in the casket and try to kill him. So he's literally like in this casket, and the commentators make sure to tell him that it's airtight and he's suffocating and he's dying. They literally try to kill the Ultimate Warrior on TV. Eventually, they get it open. So yeah, the Undertaker who literally tried to murder the Ultimate Warrior. Then after that, Warriors gets the help of Jake Roberts, and they do all the kind of these weird vignettes where he gets put back in the casket, he gets buried up to his head in a graveyard, and it ends up, you know, you end up going into this room somewhere where it's full of snakes, and he has to open up this box, and he opens the box, and there's a cobra inside, and the cobra bites Warrior, and Warrior's all fucked up, and then it's revealed that Jake the Snake Roberts was in cahoots with the Undertaker the entire time. You know, we go into SummerSlam, right? And then you have the match made in heaven, right? You had the wedding. Everyone's probably thinking, oh, something's going to go fucked up with this wedding, but it goes as planned, right? The wedding is fine. But the reception is another story. Now, I was watching the reception. I'm like, who is at this reception? I see Gene Okerlund. I see Bobby the Brain Heenan. But I don't see any other wrestlers there, so which is weird to me, which I guess is the purpose of what happens next. Because Savage is still a tweener at this point, by the way. He was still burying babyfaces on commentary. They do the angle where Liz opens up the present, and there's a cobra inside. And the Undertaker nails Macho with the urn, and Jake's in Liz's face with the snake. And then eventually, I guess the only wrestler that was there was Sid Justice for some reason. And he hits like, he goes after them with the chair and fends them off. Which, if you look back to earlier episodes of Primetime, they do an episode where it's Macho Man's bachelor party. And you have, like, the Bushwhackers are there, and, like, Coco Beware is there. I think Tito is there. Bobby Heenan's there. Sean Mooney's there, I think. And the Jameson is there. Remember fucking Jameson? He's fucking awful. But I think one of the things that got left out of that thing is that Jake tried to go to the bachelor party, but his name wasn't on the list because Heenan left his name off the list, and Jake was pissed. So I'm pretty sure the reason why Jake Roberts attacked Macho Man at his reception because he was not invited to the bachelor party. I think we all know how much Jake likes the party. So we go into that. So we have the Jake Macho feud that goes on for a little bit. In the meantime, right before SummerSlam, we see Bobby Heenan coming in with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt, saying this is the property of the real world champion Ric Flair. Holy shit, Ric Flair is in the WWF. Who would have fucking thought it? And with the belt no less. It's completely insane. So they have Flair come in, and right off the bat, he's feuding with Piper, and they're doing some really cool stuff. You know, Hogan's doing Hogan stuff for whatever reason. They do the angle where Tugboat turns, which is ridiculous.
Right.
Andre the Giant had come back, and all the heel managers were trying to court him, and they would fail in hilarious fashion. Like Sherry got spanked, and something happened to Slick, and something happened with Fuji. He didn't want no part of Andre because he's still scared of Andre because Andre beat him up at WrestleMania 6. So eventually, Jimmy Hart's like, I got Andre, and I'm going to put Andre with Earthquake, and they're going to be a tag team, and we're going to win the tag team championship. And then Andre tricked Jimmy Hart and tell him, I'm not going to be, you're not going to be my manager, and then Earthquake attacks him, beats him up. So that leads to a 6-man match where it's Earthquake and the Nasty Boys taking on the Bushwhackers. And not Andre because Andre's hurt and he's on crutches, but Tugboat. And in that match, fucking Tugboat turns. So we had the birth of National Disasters, which is a pretty hefty angle for that time.
Yeah.
So as we go on towards the end of '91, we have the Taker and Hogan feud, which leads to Hogan defeated at Survivor Series by The Undertaker with interference from Ric Flair, and then they bring it back at Tuesday in Texas, and then Hogan throws the ashes for the urn and Undertaker's face, gives him the leg drop 1, 2, 3, and wins back the belt. But then the belt's held up, and then the winner of the Royal Rumble 1992 would be the new champion. In the meantime, they do this angle where Jake attacks Randy Savage, and he gets bit by the Cobra.
Yes.
And they said that after the Cobra bit Randy Savage, had died.
Really?
Yeah. But also, don't forget, which is another really fucking heavy angle, Jake Roberts slaps Elizabeth. It was like, holy shit, what is happening? So as we end 1991, we have a vacant world title. We have Macho Man on the comeback trail because they had the retirement match at WrestleMania 7, which again is another hefty deal all on its own, that retirement match at WrestleMania 7. You have The Undertaker doing shenanigans. And the whole year 1981, it just seems like it seems much darker than 1990 and much darker than, say, 1992. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's the Mountie getting raped.
Oh, what?
How do I forget about that? 1991, jailhouse match. Big Boss Man versus the Mountie. The loser gets to spend the night in a New York City jail. So they have the match, right? They have the match. The Mountie loses. He gets to put in jail. And he's yelling at one guy. And there's another guy in the cell. And it's heavily implied that the Mountie got raped in jail. So go back and watch your SummerSlam 1991.
Man.
All kinds of crazy shit. So Matt, what are your thoughts on 1991 WWF?
I remember the snake incident vividly.
Yeah.
I didn't know the snake died, but I remember that being like, how are they doing that? Because even back then, I was training, I was like, oh, how would they pull that off? But I was a fun time. And again, there were a lot of crazy angles. I think wrestling's fun when they do some crazy stuff.
I think it is thought business was down, and they're just throwing everything they had at this. And a lot of it didn't work because they didn't end up drawing, but they didn't know that wrestling was in a recession. So it would be wrestling across the board that was down, not just WWF. So there's no angles that could have fixed that.
Right.
It was just that it was down. So, but yeah, 1991 WWF. Do yourself a favor, go back and watch that year, especially the TVs. Don't necessarily worry about the pay-per-views because the good thing about watching like Superstars, Wrestling Challenge, Spotlight, All American, what have you, is that they recap the pay-per-views anyway. So
yeah,
and you forget how slowly they build shit, and how much time was spent on stuff that they built that they didn't resolve at all. It's just like, oh, that went away from like week to week. Like there's even so everyone knows the story that Ultimate Warrior was fired right after SummerSlam 91, like that day. But if you watch the episode of Superstars that came out right after that, and it's a whole week later. It's not like, because obviously I think that SummerSlam was either on a Sunday or a Monday, because SummerSlam sometimes run on a Monday for some reason. But it's a summer, so no one gives a shit. Superstars doesn't run the Saturday. But there's still promos with the Berserker talking about how he's going to face Ultimate Warrior on house shows. So I wonder if they did that because of a legal reason.
Maybe.
Or, like, they just promoted matches knowing a guy's not going to be there. Because he's fucking fired. So, again, really odd year 1991. Definitely an outlier of something that's a little bit more violent. Even though it's still kind of cartoony. It's not, say, as intense as Crockett was, or UWF, or World Class, but for WWF, that's, prior to the Attitude Era, that's some heavy shit they're doing in 1991. So go check it out. Up next, we want to do our wrestler spotlight, and we're going to talk about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Well, David, today I got a few things to address, and so I want everybody to be listening. First of all, I'm going to address the fact of Larry Zbyszko and Baby Doll, and tell the world out there throughout this country that Dusty Rhodes has never, ever done anything wrong to tarnish the name of the American Dream. If you have documents, if you have photos, if you have clues and evidence, if you will, to say that Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, has ever stepped over the bounds, if you will, then, Baby Doll, prove it. And Larry Zbyszko, if you want the United States Heavyweight title, you have to come get it. Secondly, now, the Road Warriors, my brother Animal, come out here and talk in a different tone, and got right down in your living room and told you what's going to happen to the Powers of Pain. So Powers of Pain, you better take that to the bank, because when Animal said and Hawk said, that is a true fact. And then Ric Flair come out here knocking my public. He come out here and he be talking about the way people look, the way they are, and he's over here and he's saying, well, Ric Flair, you know what? I'm not a normal looking athlete myself. You know what I'm talking about? I've been in the dens of lions. It's a privilege and an honor to walk out with Ole Anderson, Lex Luger, and the Omelet tomorrow night, because I'm not a put aside either. You know what I'm talking about? When you knock them, you're knocking me. And let me tell you something, Daddy. I can buy and sell you, Ric Flair. And that's the bottom line. And the other bottom line is, in this wrestling world, I am 3-time World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. That's the bottom line. And the other bottom line is, I am the current Bull of the Woods, if you will. And that makes me the baddest of them all. So, J.J. Dillon, you say you're going to listen to Ole Anderson, Lex Luger, and Dusty Rhodes, and look at us close, because you don't know what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Total destruction is going to happen tomorrow night in the Omni. And anybody that don't believe that, they better be coming like it is going to be for the week of heart. The week of heart, if you will. So now I want to say something to my sister in Houston, Texas. Because Ric Flair, my sister, is 6'2" and weighs 280 pounds. And if you're speaking of fat women, you talk about my sister, and she'll come out here and clean your clock. You know what I'm talking about? And turn around and say, man, that was awful good, but it wasn't long enough. You know what I'm talking about, Ric Flair? To be a man, you got to beat the man. Dusty Rhodes is the man. He is a tower of power. He is too sweet to be sour. He is the rap master. There is no other. There is no equal. The man that built the Omni is Dusty Rhodes. Ole Anderson, Lex Luger. Tomorrow night, let's get funky like a monkey, baby.
There's no more to say. We'll be back right after this.
It's one of your favorites of all time, Matt. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on Dusty?
Well, Dusty was a guy I grew to love because of his ring work.
Now, weren't you an early sheet guy? Like, didn't you get the dirt sheets early, like in the 80s? Now, Meltzer fucking hated Dusty, his work, everything about him. You think that was the first time? Because I remember in the 90s specifically, like everyone was down on fucking Dusty. you know, he books himself on top. He's overexposed. He's not a great worker. Blah blah blah. But you think a lot of that had to do with the way Meltzer presented him in the Observer? You think that's the first? Because you know, let's be honest. And a lot of people give Dave Meltzer shit on Twitter all the time, but his opinion matters. It has fucking weight to it. So you have like Meltzer acolytes that believe everything he says is the gospel, right?
Yeah.
You know, sycophants, you know, big time Meltzer fans that'll defend him no matter what he says and that kind of stuff, and they believe everything he says, and you know, and his word is the gospel. And then you have people who hate him just because he's Dave Meltzer. So when you have these opposing forces, that's what you see on Twitter all the time. But I think back then, I think he did have a lot of weight, and you think that was the first aspect of his opinion bleeding over into kind of what the thought process was for a lot of wrestling fans at the time.
I can see that. I think for me, I hated Dusty Rhodes. I was a Horseman guy, but also because I always just saw him as a fat guy. But like once I started working and you know seeing the psychology he used, he did really well with what he had. And I mean, yeah, he booked himself too much, giving yourself 4 bunkhouse stampedes. Come on, like use that to push the next generation. That's the mistake they made with Cena, was they constantly had Cena on top when they should have been putting other people around. So you have this vacuum around him. I mean, you got, what was it? It was him, Lesnar, Orton, and Batista were all like kind of the same class.
Yeah.
You know, but I always think of like, you know, if you spread the wealth and make more people top guys, they're going to be top guys. And instead you had Dusty. So yeah, I can see why that would rub people the wrong way.
And I think a lot of people, when he got national prominence on that Crockett TV, he was way past his prime anyway. So no one got to see the 1974 Dusty Rhodes.
Every time the people cheer, every time you walk out on them streets and you stroll down them streets of Chicago, streets of Milwaukee, streets of Boston, they gonna say the Crusher, Rhodes, the greatest team in the world, greater than Nixon and Agnew, greater than any major sporting event in the world. The Crusher, and you know why? Because it's the first time, baby. Listen to me now. It's the first time it's been done with soul. You understand? It's been done before. It's been gouged and picked. It's been done by great holes, in great numbers. There's only one thing that needs to be said. It's done with soul. All of it, everything, baby, you done stuff with soul before. You laid out there and took your little wife down the street to the zoo, and you did it with soul. You strode along with soul. You went down and seen the monkeys and giraffes with soul. You understand? Me and the Crusher are doing it with soul. That's all. I don't mind telling you. Bockwinkel and Stevens, the reign is over. The reign is, that's the word. Look at that. Look at the man there, Jack. The reign is over. It's over. I was a little bully. I used to beat up people all the time. The Crusher was a bully. What's wrong with a bully when you got soul? Everybody loves a soul bully. I might make a song too called Soul Bully. You understand? It's great. It's here. Happy being here, walking and strolling on the sidewalks of Chicago. Let me tell you what's going on now is a Crusher and Rhodes. Write it in your book. Put it under your pillow, because the fairy is going to bring you something for it. Mr. Soul, American Dream, 280 pounds of sweet-smelling soul jack. When everybody's in the back laughing and joking, Big Dustin out and Crusher's out front, woo, cooking and smoking.
Right.
You know, people from Florida saw it. People from Georgia saw it. Even some people in New York, when he's having those great matches with superstar Billy Graham, they saw it.
To my left, ladies and gentlemen, one of the all-time great sports attractions. To my left, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and it's most unusual that we're here in an empty arena because Dusty Rhodes fills arenas, because people flock from literally all over the world to see this man bring his type of excitement, to see him bring his type of professional wrestling to the squared circle. However, it was not always like that with people flocking to see you, was it, Dusty Rhodes? Things have been rough. It's been a long, hard road.
Yeah, Vinny, you know, well, this is a good chance. You know, it's always little yelling, little screaming, little really get down fever and boogie when I'm rapping, and never get a chance to sit down and rap with my people and talk to you. When I was a kid growing up, I did have a dream, you know. I look around this building, I look around at the things that go on in this building, the people screaming and hollering, and it's a quiet time for me. It's a personal time for me, because my dream is every little child's dream, or every person's dream that ever wanted to be anything. It is an American dream. There is an American dream. Hell, whether it's filling a building like this, or if it's doing plumbing like my daddy did, as well as you can do it, you understand? I mean, just as good as you can. I just thank God that there are people like yourself come out to see the American dream, because when I was growing up, I sure didn't think 265 pounds of blue-eyed soul would captivate a country like I have. The people drive me. There's never been a man, I don't think, in sports anywhere gets a natural high. That might be it. You look around at a natural high from doing what he's doing. It's not dope. It's not pot. It's not whiskey and wine. I drink a little whiskey and wine. But it's every man, woman, or child that really believe in the American dream. And this building, you know, Vinny, this building, I'm getting down now because I'm seeing things in my heart. This building will be full, it's true. There'll be screaming and hollering and jumping and shucking and jiving. Because this man knows no color barrier. He has no qualms about going out and eating dinner with a black man or Puerto Rican or a Greek man or a Chinese man or Mexican American or anybody like that. Because I was raised to understand a man is a man first. When he proves himself a man, no matter what color he is, no matter what creed he is. Playing football, you know, back in West Texas, we had many black guys on the team, really boogie get down fever boys. And there were a few people around the town there in Texas that were still down a little bit on blacks. And now the world's changed. The arenas have changed. You can look up in this building in a matter of few hours when it's full, and you can see a black man and a white man eating out of the same popcorn box. Whoo! That's funky. That's the American dream. And I don't care too much for politicians, you understand, or don't get involved with what's their business. All I know is my business is making you happy. And I get a little sentimental when I'm thinking about it, because making you happy makes my dream fulfill. And God knows I love you. Now, whether it's superstar Billy Graham or Bob Backlund, the great champion that he is, or whether it's sitting here with Vince, or whether it's Freddie Blassie or Captain Lou Albino or the Weasel, or any of his people, or Spiros Arion, there is a triumph in an empty building. When I can sit here and really let my feelings go, telling you in 2 hours, there will be full of screaming people for one thing. For one instant in their life, everything else don't matter but the American dream. Now, whether I carry that banner like I should, sometimes it takes help from you. But I tell you one damn thing, I'm gonna carry it forever and ever. The American dream lives in this empty building.
Dusty Rhodes.
But by 1985, when you got this national platform and you're seeing Dusty Rhodes, it was like, oh, okay. No, he's not having those hour-long matches anymore. You know, he's not bumping like he used to. You know what I mean? Because he's older.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think Dusty is more celebrated now than he was when he was working. Impact is phenomenal and huge.
Yeah. I'm right here. I'm on my Princess. Wait a minute. I'm on my Pete Princess phone, live with Colonel Tom Parker, Memphis, Tennessee. Elvis is on the line. They're waiting to hear from him. They're waiting to see him. They got all their children around the TV. Colonel Todd Parker told me in just a few minutes, see him here. He told me, he said, Big Dust, coming to Memphis. Jerry Lawler wants some of it. You want some of Jerry Lawler? This world title thing gonna be straightened out. I'm the #1 contender for the title. I'm the prettiest athlete in the world. I'm the greatest. I am the best. I'm the man of the hour. Whoa, too sweet to be sour, Jack. I pick up this phone this morning. When it rang, I said, long distance information, give me Memphis, Tennessee. Help me find a party, try to get in touch with me. She did not leave a number. I know who to call. Elvis called me there. Elvis said, I'm going to pick you up in your limousine. I want you there driving in style and class. And your smiling face and a lot of grace. The thing is, Jerry Lawler, go feel the power of the dream. Go see the dream get down and boogie like nobody ever seen him boogie. Memphis, Tennessee gonna be my home, my house. All the black, and all the white, and all the green, all the yellow, and all the races, creeds, and color. Gonna flow in that building. Gonna see me because I got something special for him. If he wants to match, I got my Rhodes shuffle. I'm gonna put it on him. I'm so quick. I'm gonna sting him, knock him down, beat him down. Jerry Lawler is not quick enough to stay with a dream. And better than that, I might even be there early with 17 dancing go-go bears.
Again, even with NXT, he was very, very influential in a lot of the NXT talent that came up. He spent a lot of time with those guys. And all of them credit, him for their success. But yeah, Dusty Rhodes debuted in 1967. There's always this big thing that he won the World Heavyweight Championship in his first match in Boston. So he won the BTW World Heavyweight Championship against Frank Scarpa in the Boston Arena. He had no money, so he slept in his car and spent Thanksgiving with Rufus R. Jones in a Boston soup kitchen. So there you go. Eventually, he made his way to World Class Championship Wrestling. At the time, it was called Big Time Wrestling. That's the first time he used the name Dusty Rhodes. Spent some time there. Eventually, he left Texas and went to Kansas City. And he started tagging with Dick Murdoch to become the infamous Texas Outlaws, one of the most feared teams in wrestling at the time. They would go to the Western States. They would go to Big Time Wrestling. They go to NWA Detroit, National Wrestling Federation. They go to Championship Wrestling for Florida, the original World Championship Wrestling in Australia, Tri-State Wrestling, and the AWA, the IWE in Japan as the Texas Outlaws. And then in 1974, the American Dream is born.
Yeah, we just said, guys, see what's going on now. Look at me, it's so quick. Somebody got hung on me there. See, the thing is, Eddie Graham is a little smarter than I thought he was. Look at here, Paxton, the Korean, from Korea, brother. Look at him.
Graham very effectively blocking that powerful right hand of Paxton that caused so much devastating damage in professional wrestling, including putting Don Morocco out of professional wrestling for 3 long months. Graham keeping that arm tied up. The referee checking Paxton, trying to see if he wants to concede. Graham putting a lot of pressure on him.
See, I'm telling Paxton because I know how to get out this. Take me maybe 30 seconds to get out this hole, have him on his back, storming his door with my ugly knuckle. That's how long it take me. Paxton don't seem to have the key.
Gary Hart, the manager, issuing advice, and Graham continues to hold the upper hand on this Korean Paxton.
Paxton still trying to find himself. Look at him. It's the 4th quarter, and the dude still can't find the football. Look at him now. Can't get out of it. If he just tagged me, I could beat them both.
Graham forcing Paxton down, and you're looking somewhat...
Look, I'm going to tell you what's happening there. Gary Hart is yelling at me, brother. Nobody, even my daddy, yelled at me when I was working 8 years old in a plumber's ditch. Nobody hollered at me, baby. He's getting on my nerve now.
Young Mike Graham acquitting himself very well here against Paxton. And, of course, it was young Mike that spelled the difference a little bit later on. There's Mike getting behind his man and, of course, maintaining a very defensive posture. And now Eddie Graham coming in, those fifth double. And here's the man who's got the hardest punch in wrestling history, and you're pretty well aware of it, Mr. Rhodes.
Yeah, I'm aware, but see, I'm trying to lure him in. Got him now. Got him going where I want. Whoa. Got him just about where I want him now. Trying to set him up. He's beating on my door a little bit. Got him down. Got him slowly. This whole tape, I don't know, it's just getting ready to bust into so much excitement here. There is Paxson supposed to go in and do some damage.
Graham blocking, and you can see the stinging fury of that punch against his hands. He blocked him. Paxson moves in again, and now Graham taking desperate measures to protect himself against this man, Paxson, and Gary, and a looping hand and another one, and Paxson is staggered. And here's where your team is in serious trouble, Mr. Rhodes.
Until the man tags the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, going well on his gourd here. Up, got sidetracked just a second.
Mike Graham keeping you off, and Paxson able to connect that time. Connects again with Eddie Graham, and Graham has been lacerated. Paxson still limping after that leg hold had been applied by Mike Graham, and now Paxson has Eddie Graham in a lot of trouble. Graham is staggered. He goes to the canvas, unable to get over for the tag.
Well, now, seniors, I want to show you now. This, brother, is where reality begins. Right here is what it's all about. The greatest sport in the world. Right here is what it's all about. Violence. A man against man, one-on-one, no pads, no shoulder pads, no nothing, pounding his gourd, beating his noggin, beat Eddie Graham and beat Mike Graham myself right here. And now I'm going to get back, watch it now, giving Paxson the chance to be a star, the chance to beat Eddie Graham alone. I'm giving the man a chance. Right here you see, Gordon, what's happening here, and I got it all lined up. As you see what's going to happen here, God, watch this Korean right there, brother. Nobody, no dude. It's the American Dream, baby. Nobody crosses me. Nobody crosses Dusty Rhodes. Now, at this time, baby, my life, everything. See, life is full of first times, baby. And now I got to do something for myself, for my pride, for my daddy, for everybody that was associated with. Now I got to get off that floor, baby. Go in that ring and beat up 4 men. You understand what I'm saying? I done beat up Graham. Now I got to go in right here. I'm going for one reason, baby. And that's to whip that honky Korean's head. Because I am the dream. I am the man. Go on with it, baby. Right there. Come and get it, baby. And right now, too, I'm taking the heart of the people in this city. People of all over. This ain't local, baby. This is real. Right here is reality. Honky Gary Hart with his flat feet. Semi-professional wino from Chicago. Right here backing off of me. Now I'm doing my thing. The roar is louder. My heart is pounding. And now I'm not only doing it for me, baby. I'm doing it for 6,000 people in the Fort Hesley Armory. And right here got another sneak attack. Pearl Harbor. And now I want to show you something that's very dear to me. This piece of tape. This piece of tape, baby, is worth a lifetime of things. Because this shows a man, not a boy. Not a boy trying to be something he ain't, but a man raised by a man, brother. And Mike Graham becomes a brother right here. A brother to me.
So in the match with him and Paxson against Mike and Eddie Graham, Paxson again misses the chop, hits Dusty. Dusty gets pissed and beats the shit out of Paxson, and the American Dream is born. After that, in 1977, he wrestled for the WWF, having fantastic matches with superstar Billy Graham. They would have Texas Death Match, and I believe they had a Texas Bull Rope match. They would have the Bull Rope match, which is fucking phenomenal. Spent a lot of time in Georgia.
Wrestling champion, the man who won the title right here in Atlanta, Georgia, Dusty Rhodes. Welcome back, Dusty.
God, hold this just a minute. You want a little bit go? I got something to say. You know, let me have this thing. You know, I've been all over the country, and I've been missing
17, because Dusty Rhodes is the scene on 17. Everybody be talking jive when I was gone. They be saying that they doing it. Do you know what fashionable means? Do you know what fashionable means? Fashionable means that's somebody that starts a trend. Well, I was bad before it was fashionable. I was the American dream before it was fashionable. I was the greatest lover in the world before it was fashionable. And I am the greatest wrestler in the world now because it's fashionable. Now, the World's Heavyweight title belongs to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. You know, they say, you know, Blue Eyed Soul, where did you get it from? You got to be born with it, Jack. You just can't put on a pair of shoes and say you got soul. I'm going to go on record right now telling everybody, from Jimmy Snuka to Tommy Rich, all the way down to Nature Boy Ric Flair. If he wants some of me, anywhere, anytime, all they got to do is call my Aunt Nanny. She stay right here in Atlanta, because I'm over there eating some cornbread, getting down with my main squeeze, Jack. And I'll be ready for Freddie, be ready for action. Let me tell you something too, Holly Race. If you want it one more time, I don't want to go to St. Louis. I don't want to go to Chicago. I don't want to go to Philadelphia. I don't want to go to Louisiana. I don't want to go to Texas. I want to whip your butt right here in Georgia one more time. You understand? That's all the dream got to say right now. I'm going to be back in a minute with a big victory, Jack.
There you have it, the comments from the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Again, we see him a lot on those Georgia Championship Wrestling TVs. You can get those on YouTube from the early 80s. Again,
Gentleman with me right now has seen many a wrestling ring in his day and many more coming up. Dusty Rhodes.
God, how come every time I come out here, Rodney Piper has to go to the bathroom, or he got to go powder his nose, or he got to go get some lunch? You know, whether it be Ole Anderson, whether it be Sergeant Slaughter, or whether it be in Carolina, whether it be in Ohio, whether it be in Georgia, whether it be in Louisiana, whether it be in Roanoke, wherever it's at, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, is always looking to be cooking, you understand? And I'm always cooking, shucking and jiving, peeping and hiding. That's right. That's right. And now then it's forced upon me. It's all said. It's getting cards and letters. The fabled Dragon Flash, Dragon, whatever kind of match it is. Dragon Shot. See, they know. They know.
Well, right tomorrow night at the Omni, it's all going to come down.
Here, they gonna give me a stick. They're going to give me a stick, Jack, about 5 foot long. And they're going to give me a big old bad glove. And then they're going to give me Gary Hart, the master of destruction, with the great Kabuki, the most evil wrestler ever to set foot in Atlanta, Georgia, or in the Omni. And tomorrow night is my test of destiny with the stick, the equalizer, as the man said. The equalizer is in my corner. I have never been in anything like this in my life. Don't know if I want to be in it again. But what it will be is the most exciting time you ever seen it. Gary Hart, no matter how evil you are, no matter how bad you are, no matter how wicked you are, when I get through beating Kabuki with that stick, I'm going to take it and jam it right up your...
Hey, be back.
Spent time in Florida feuding with Kevin Sullivan and his motley crew of satanic worshippers.
Yes.
Came up with the concept for Starrcade, the original Starrcade in 1983. Actually booked that event, but wasn't the booker of Jim Crockett Promotions. He wouldn't come in until later on in 84. So I believe it was still Dory Funk Jr. who was the booker during the first Starrcade. But that was more like I wouldn't say national event, but they brought in stars from like all over the place. Dusty wasn't even on the first Starrcade. He did an interview, which if you see some versions of that show, I don't know if it's all versions, but the versions I've seen, is like his mic cuts out, so you can't even hear what he's saying.
Oh, jeez.
So I was like, it's fucking awesome. So eventually we enter Jim Crockett Promotions, and again he would team up with a babyface Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. Would eventually have that match in Starrcade '84, the $1 Million Challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Ric Flair was still a babyface at this time, so don't forget about that. That was a babyface versus babyface match. He would also headline Starrcade '85 as well. he would feud with the Horsemen.
Here is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty, your fans welcome you back, man.
First of all, I would like to thank the many, many fans throughout this country that wrote cards and letters to Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, while I was down. Secondly, I want to thank Jim Crockett Promotions for waiting and taking the time, because I know how important it was. Starcade 85, it is to the wrestling fans, it is to Jim Crockett Promotions. And Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, with that weight, got what I wanted. Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves in the first place. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years, they give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time. That's hard time. And Ric Flair, you put hard times on this country by taking Dusty Rhodes out. That's hard time. And we all had hard times together. I admit I don't look like the athlete of the day supposed to look. My belly's just a little big. My hind is just a little big. But brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad. And there were 2 bad people. One was John Wayne and he's dead, brother. And the other one's right here. Nature Boy Ric Flair. The world's heavyweight title belongs to these people. I'm gonna reach out right now. I want you at home to know my hand is touching your hand for this gathering of the biggest body of people in this country, in this universe, all over the world now, reaching out because the love that was given me, and this time I will repay you now because I will be the next world's heavyweight champion on this Hard Time Blues. Dusty Rhodes Tour 85 and Ric Flair, Nature Boy. Let me leave you with this. One way to hurt Ric Flair is to take what he cherishes more than anything in the world. That's the world's heavyweight title. I'm gonna take it. I've been there twice. This time when I take it, Daddy, I'm gonna take it for you. Let's gather for it. Don't let me down now, because I came back for you, for that man up there that died 10, 12 years ago and never got the opportunity to see a real Wolf champion. And I'm proud of you and thank God I have you. And I love you. Love you!
And that Horseman feud was fucking fantastic. It went too long. It went too long. There's no way they should have went into 87 with that shit, but you know, I understand Magnum's record, what have you, that you need to do something. But there's no way that shit should have went to 87 at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world television champion, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty, welcome. But what about Jimmy Vane? What? He tried it. They almost got him again.
This has got to stop somewhere. Let me tell you something, David Crockett. This is going to cease to exist. It's going to stop now. I don't play no game. And I don't take no prisoners. Vegas War is going to have a lot of help. And tell the black that you come out here and you talk about Baby Don Paul driving that boy, putting that boy out of wrestling, talking about boy this and boy that. Well, David, you know my youngest, Till Margaret, is 2.5 years old. And I tell her a story about the cold-blooded sausage maker that's walking through the woods. And these little pigs run around. And he grabs the little pigs and he making cold-blooded sausage out of them. But always in that story, when she's scared and her eyes are big as silver dollars, the American Dream comes and saves the little piggies. But in this case, I am the cold-blooded sausage maker. Tully Blanchard. And you the little piggies. And you running around with one big pig. That's right. Now I hope my mama don't call David and get on for me talking this way. But she ain't no lady. She ain't no 10. She's nothing more than something off the, I ain't even gonna talk about it. And you talking about now, you gotta deal with a dealer. That's fine. Cause that's risky business. I am risky business. I am the cold-blooded sausage maker.
Promos are fantastic. Again, you go on YouTube, you'll see all the promos here too. But eventually, Rhodes was fired after Starrcade 88. So the end of 88, going into 89, Turner Broadcasting System at TBS had just purchased the company. And that was the angle where Road Warrior Animal pulled a spike out of his shoulder pads and jammed it in Rhodes' eye. And then he was fired. Went back to Florida and opened up his, I believe that was his own promotion. It was his championship wrestling. He went back to Florida, captured the PWF championship, and then came back to AWA for a couple of shots. And then in the middle of 1989, he came to the WWF. As the yellow polka-dotted common man.
Woo! Have no fear, the son of plumbers. What's going on, baby? What can I do for you?
Thank God you're here.
I'm here to check your plumbing. You know that. Now, let me ask you a couple questions. Is the dinger dinging?
No, the dinger's not dinging.
Is the ringer ringing?
And the ringer's not ringing.
Is that water, like, I'm trying to think now, is it like real crystal clear? You know what I'm talking about, Mama?
No.
It's not?
No.
Whew. Is it brown?
It's bad. Dark, dark brown.
You talking about chocolate brown?
Come and
Woo! I got just a thing. We got to fix this, Mama. Woo-wee. Ooh, wow! We got a mess here. Look at this barbecue. Ooh, I wonder what that is. I can't see what that is down there. Whoa! Woo! That's worse than I thought, Mama. Listen, you don't want to see this thing now. I got to do a potty bypass. If you ain't seen one of these, you don't want to be looking. You're too pretty to be seen that. You step outside, I'm going to take care of business. Hey, leave the good doctor with his tools. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to take care of this thing. Ooh, that's hard, too. But I got to get into it. Business time. Ooh, yeah. Oh, baby. Whoa, Lordy. Honey, open door. Open door. I got something for you. Woo-wee. Oh, yeah, look at what I do. What I do, let me get this out and show you. What I do, I did the first ever triple potty bypass. I mean, 43 pounds. Look at it. Look at it. Woo-wee. It is beautiful. Don't want to break it, baby. Don't want to break it. Woo, I got some unfinished business to do. Matter of fact, a little cosmetic surgery. Ooh-wee, she gonna be proud of this. Hey, darling, Mama, come in here. I want to show you something now. Look at this. Woo, ho, ho. Hey, your pride and joy is ready. Take a look here. Hey, no more tidy bowl. You know what I mean? No more janitor in a drum. No more Drano, if you will. I mean, this here is ready for Better Homes and Garden. Take a picture of this. Woo, let me ask you, is it ringing? Is it dinging? All right, test time, test time. I like you. Put your finger on that thing and listen to this music. Woo-hoo, you in business now. And I'm on the cover of Plumbers Weekly. Yeah, woo!
Hey, aren't you?
I watched his first match. It was on the Nesta Network. They should always broadcast the WF shows.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, he comes out and the fans are all pumped and excited. And he goes up the turnbuckle to, like, you know, outside the ring, like, you know, climbing in the ring. Yeah. And he goes up and he slips. And he almost falls in the ring and kind of like teeters. Uh-huh. And then just ignores it and pumps his fist, and everyone just starts laughing.
Oh, man.
And he fought the $1 Million Man to DiBiase.
Okay. So we do these vignettes where he's a plumber, a butcher's apprentice, a gas station attendant, pizza delivery man.
Well, I'm the pizza man. I'm the pizza man. I can do it when you can, 'cause I'm the ever-loving American pizza man. Yeah, I love this job. I'm telling you that, brother. Woo, let's see what we got. This the house. Yeah, it is. Wow.
All right, pizza, pizza, pizza. I'm the pizza man. Oh, yeah, let me see here. Let me see now. We got that, that's sardine pizza. That's that old Mountain Oscar pizza. And then, oh, my favorite pizza of all, pig feet pizza with a little bit of snout on the side. Woo! I'm the pizza man. I'm the pizza man. Yeah, ding dong. Americana pizza. Boy, look at this. Woo! Hi, pretty lady. Americana pizza for you. Yes, ma'am.
I have my sardine pizza.
I got your sword. I got it right there.
Oyster pizza?
Your mountain grown oyster pizza, but I got something for you. I can tell you order this pig feet pizza.
Oh, no.
A little extra snout on the side. Woo-hoo.
My
There you go,
favorite.
darling.
Why don't you try some? It's my favorite.
Can I try some?
You'll love it.
Oh,
You'll love
all
it.
right. Yeah.
Ooh.
2 pieces.
Ooh.
That's good for your tummy, and it's yummy, yummy, yummy.
Hey, aren't you?
Yeah, he was the common man. Would eventually feud with like Big Boss Man. He would feud with Randy Savage, and had an awful mixed tag team match at WrestleMania. I wish that was just a one-on-one encounter.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania. He was paired with Sapphire, which is also kind of ridiculous. At SummerSlam 90, the $1 Million Man bought Sapphire eventually.
Yes.
To get underneath Dusty's skin. He dropped polka dots at that point. Would feud with DiBiase and Virgil. They also had the debut of Dustin at the Royal Rumble 91. They did this. They had a father and son versus DiBiase and Virgil match, and at that point, he was done. He returned to WCW 91, become the Booker. And his first appearance was only 11 days after the Royal Rumble. You know, at that point, he would be Booker on and off for WCW for the rest of his career. Became a color commentator, and I know people are divided on Dusty's commentary, but some of that shit's fucking hilarious. Like, his commentary is really, really, like, I enjoy it. Eventually, he turned heel by joining the NWO and a often not remembered angle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He had a good series of Steve Corino too.
Yeah, I'm about to talk about that. In 2000, he went to ECW, and he fought with Steve Corino again, and that's the match that really kind of propelled Corino to the next level for him. Dusty was able to get Corino over, especially in Philadelphia. Came back briefly in WCW to feud with Ric Flair for a minute. Had his own promotion called Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. Went to TNA for a couple years. Did a lot of indies, and then he returned to WWE in 2005. Did a lot of backstage stuff. But then he was the creative director. He was the head writer and creative director for NXT in its infancy. All right, and that's it. I mean, at that point, he passed away in 2015 and had a hell of a legacy. Both his sons are fantastic workers. We have Dustin Rhodes, who is currently Goldust, and we have Cody Rhodes, and doing his all-in stuff. So he taught his sons well.
Come here, Dustin. I want everybody to bear with me just for a minute. I want to talk to my son in front of the whole world. When you were born, when you were a baby, and when you were born, I went off to seek my fame and fortune. I neglected you. Then later on, when I became World Heavyweight Champion, I neglected you. Then lately I became this corporate cowboy, if you will, in public with a suit and tie on, and I neglected you. And when it came down to choose a partner, I was off in Hollywood, and I neglected you. Let me tell you something. Bunkhouse Buck, let me tell you, Colonel Parker, they all nothing but chicken thieves. That's all they are, brother. Let me tell you something else. Terry Funk is nothing but a low-life, watermelon thief, egg-sucking dog. And let me tell you something about Ian Anderson. Arn Anderson, my son, offered up his innocence, and you paid him back in scorn. The hell with you, Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson has never been nothing but a walk-behinder. And when you walk behind and you're not a leader, then the view never changes, baby. The view never changes, baby. The view never changes. You have the ability to be the world's heavyweight wrestling champion. There is not a greater athlete at your age in this sport. But I want to ask you a favor. I want to ask you a favor in front of God and the whole world. I know that the Clash of Champions on August the 24th, you put your name on the dotted line. I don't want you to look for another partner. I don't want you to go and find another man. I don't want you to go out and get on your knees and beg another scum-sucking pig to be your partner. I'm asking you if you can carry this old out of shape, old bent out, old spindly-legged man. I want to be your partner. I don't need no handshake, because out there right now tonight there's people with their brothers and their sisters and their wives. They are blood. The Kennedys were blood. The Earps were blood. The Rhodes are blood. I don't need a handshake. What I need now from you is just a hug and a kiss to seal the deal, baby.
And so like, we talk about this, pretty consistently, how second generation wrestlers often do well, but both his sons are doing extremely well. That's Dusty Rhodes in a nutshell. All right, guys, so we are officially out of time.